so annoyed when I come on this app and I see video after video of kids that have recently graduated college who are just bitching and moaning about how they can't find jobs, let alone jobs in their field, okay? And it's not just them, it's grown-ass adults. Video after video, the job market, I can't find a job, like bitching, they're just bitching. I'll tell you precisely why I'm sick and tired of it, because they deserve work, okay? When you graduate and you get a degree in X, Y, and Z, you should have a fair shot at getting a job, an entry-level job in that field. If you're 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and you have that many years of work experience and you can't find work, shame on this fucking country. I feel their panic deeply because I have been unemployed for over 2 years. Prior to that, I taught for about 4 months. I was an English teacher, and I was terminated from that position because I was never paid on time. And I don't mean a day or two late. I mean a week late, 2 weeks late, checks not showing up at all, and I could no longer afford to commute. And so they kicked my ass out the door. Prior to that, I was unemployed for about a year. December of 22, I have applied to at least 4,000 jobs. Yes, I have 12 different resumes, all customized, keyword optimized, customized cover letters. Thank you. We've done it all. We've tried it all. We have tried it all, bitch. I have had 4 interviews in the past year and a half. One was to be a receptionist at an acupuncture clinic for 15 to 20 hours a week. It would cost me more to commute to that job than I would earn. The second one was fraudulent. I went through the entire interview process, spoke to real human beings with real email addresses, and received an offer letter only to find out it was fraudulent, and I had been talking to imposters who were harvesting the data I gave them through various exercises I had to do throughout the interview process. The third ghosted me after the initial phone screen, and the fourth, I went all the way through the third round only to lose the position to somebody who had just graduated from college and had no work experience outside of an internship. And that's not shade to them. I'm just giving you the facts. 4,000 applications for 4 interviews, one of which was not for a real company. 42 years old. I have 18 years enterprise tech sales experience, mid-market district manager experience. I've run teams. I have 2 graduate degrees. The only reason I'm not on the street is because I get financial aid once a quarter. My mom has given me every last penny she can afford to give me. I'm on food stamps. I don't leave my house. I haven't been able to pay rent in 3 years. 2 of those years were covered by rental assistance, COVID rental assistance. And this past year I've been making partial payments, and I've been fortunate that my landlord is still working with me. That could end at any moment. At any moment. Earlier this year, I was almost going to move back to Florida, where I'm originally from, Orlando. And if you had told me 13 years ago when I moved out to the Bay Area that Orlando's cost of living and the cost to rent would be comparable to what it is in San Francisco and Oakland, I would have laughed at you. But guess what? Here we are. I couldn't even afford to fail. When people get on here and tell you how dehumanizing the job market is, I can't begin to tell you the toll it has taken on my mental health and my physical health over the past 2 years. I stopped applying to jobs as aggressively as I did for the past 2 years because spending 6-8 hours a day, 3-5 days a week applying to jobs is a complete waste of my time. As absurd as it sounds, it's a better use of my time to try and rebuild my following on here so I can become a TikTok shop affiliate and try and earn money through this platform. It's literally more realistic. And people don't understand how everything is connected, right? Like when there was the Great Resignation, commercial real estate has not bounced back from that. So when you're in downtown Oakland or downtown San Francisco, those buildings are sitting at anywhere from 60 to 80% occupancy. So not only are people hiring less because they can't afford to if they want to maintain their leases, but they're laying off people en masse across industries. Tech particularly, but all industries are now beginning to be affected by AI, which means less hiring. And because it's an employer's market and everyone is so desperate for work, the hierarchy of who you are competing with when you apply for a job is completely askew. People with less experience than me are having to compete with me for the same role, just like I'm having to compete with people with more experience than me for a role. Perhaps you saw the gentleman that went viral earlier this week for going to an interview for a maid or cleaning service, only to show up and find out that it was a group interview with 9 other candidates, and they went through the entire 2 hours of interview only for the employer to say there will be a second round. What? 2-3 weeks ago, there was that big hiring event in New York City where people were like lined up around the block to turn in their resumes and apply for the job, only to find out that when they got in the door, they were turning people away and saying, go apply online. What? When you're in tech, you're accustomed to 3-4 rounds of interviews. But these 3-4 rounds of interviews are getting spaced further apart. So the hiring process is taking, or the interview process rather, is taking like 3 to 4 months. And jobs and industries that should not require that lengthy of an interview process, i.e. cleaning somebody's fucking house, are requiring multiple rounds of interviews. Entry-level jobs are requiring 5 years of experience. What? Do you have any idea how embarrassing and dehumanizing it is to not know if your phone's going to be on so that you can apply to jobs or receive callbacks? Recruiters are even finding this. They're calling people back, candidates back, and their phones are disconnected. What? It's happened to me. Are y'all ready to talk about how sometimes I can't afford to get to interviews when they are offered to me? I literally can't afford to commute. You ready for that conversation? How about I don't have any clean clothes because I can't afford to do laundry? I have easily spent over $150 at any one point in the past 2 years when I've been interviewing for 2 places at the same time in public transit money, because they have your ass running back and forth for multiple rounds of interviews. That's not money you get back when you don't get the job, or you don't even get the courtesy of a rejection call. Do I get my prescriptions filled, or do I roll the dice and go to an interview? And I don't think people are mentally prepared for this, A, not getting better, and B, potentially getting a lot worse. And if you're somebody that doesn't have a vehicle like me, you can't do gig work, can't move into your car if you're evicted, but that doesn't really matter because it's illegal to be unhoused now. But yeah, make sure that resume's keyword optimized, okay?